This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crushers Spotlight. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and joining me today is the glorious Guru. So this one must be in your wheelhouse because this is a big spotlight.
I would say a rather large spotlight.
And in charge.
Very much in charge.
He's a problem solver.
Yeah, he just kicks the shit out of people. Problem solved.
Done.
Or the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Legal way to do it.
Legal way to do it. For sure.
And we're all about doing things legal.
Especially at Can Crushers.
Yes.
Yeah,
especially.
For sure. Guys, if you can tell by the thumbnail, we have... He's amazing. We'll get into it, everything here in a minute, but we have the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor, coming on, ROH six-man champion, Shane Taylor.
Where all quickly can we rattle off some other places that he's wrestled? IWC, various indie promotions. I'm really hating that word lately.
Indie?
Indie promotions. Because they're just smaller scale promotions of the bigger ones. Some of the guys are just as good. This is where...
Or even better.
Even better. In a lot of cases, Carmella, David Arquette.
Okay. But still, yeah, Shane freaking Taylor coming on the show. I have a ton of questions. I'm not going to leak any of mine. I know you do. You just saw him a couple weeks ago in Baltimore, so this is fresh. This is ready to go for you.
Just like the opponents that he had, good guys in their own right, good athletes, but it was like a fucking Mack truck hitting a Yugo. When you've seen it on pay-per-view, it was just like, oh, chop him. Oh, double clothesline him.
Brushing it off. So we're going to dive in deep with the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, Shane Taylor. How many times are we going to say Shane Taylor on this show? It should be a drinking show. So if you guys have not started drinking, rewind this, get some type of legal beverage, and every time we say Shane Taylor, you have to take a...
Or illegal beverage. I mean, if you like...
So we're now doing stuff illegally.
Well, no. I mean, moonshine can be bought both legal and illegal, but...
That is so good right now. I definitely need some moonshine. Nonetheless. All right, let's tell you about our sponsor of the show. It's Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool wrestling apparel that's out there. We're getting closer to needing snowshoes. I mean, we're in August.
We're going to need them. I think Al needs to do this. I mean, what is going to make people more happy than to be able to stomp on his face?
Him and head. Him on one, him and head on the other.
I mean, what's going to make more people happy than to just fucking Al Snow?
All right. So that's the way that we're going to go with this spotlight. We have a promo code, Chad. What is it?
Can Crushers, all one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers.
And you will save 10% when you use that promo code. Here comes Al to tell you more about Collar and Elbow. When we come back, we will have Shane Taylor, the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, on the line.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crush. You just heard from Al Snow and Collar and Elbow. Chad, there's no beating around the bush. We need to dive right into this one. You have wide eyes. You're ready to go. And we have the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions on the line, Mr. Shane Taylor. Shane, thank you for joining us tonight on Can Crushers. How the hell are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you for having me. But you know, I've told people with these intros, yes, I am the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, so that was a good start. But you're also talking to the former Ring of Honor World TV title holder, the current reigning and defending Ring of Honor World 6-man tag team champion, the baddest of all time. All of these things you got to make sure are in that intro. I need people to understand just who they're listening to.
Well, you say it so much better than us. That's why we
listen,
give you...
I appreciate that, but that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out.
Very much is so. All right, so let's do this again. CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, the former Ring of Honor TV champion, the current 6-man champion, the problem solver in ROH, and the baddest mother effer on the planet, Shane Taylor.
That's what I'm talking about. How the hell are you? Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Thrown under the bus already.
Yeah, he's honest. He's honest.
Good. Speaking of thrown under the bus, before we get to wrestling, Shane, everybody on Can Crushers knows that we record early so I can edit and everything. Holy shit, did you stir up Twitter today? What the hell are you doing? I have not watched the second Space Jam. Chad's looking at me because he has not been on Twitter, which is awesome. I didn't tell him about this. I have not watched the second Space Jam yet, so I can't get into this. But really?
Listen, bro. Listen. So for anybody that doesn't know what I said, if you go to @Shane216Taylor, follow me on there. That's the Twitter and IG. But what I posted was when people stop romanticizing everything that Michael Jordan did, they'll realize two things. Number one, that LeBron is the better overall player. And number two, the first Space Jam was lame as hell, right? There's a couple scenes, you get a few chuckles from Bill Murray, right?
Right.
Credit that. And there's a few of the scenes with the Monstars that save it. But Michael Jordan's acting is not what makes that movie. Also,
it's like his
it had a
baseball
hell
career.
of a soundtrack. It had a hell of a soundtrack, but the biggest song from that soundtrack you can't even use because it's R. Kelly, right? So the biggest arguments for it are negated, right?
True.
And the fact is that so many people now were kids when the first one came out, right?
Yeah, I was.
And held that in such regard because it's Jordan, and now are looking at this new one with 35, 40-year-old eyes going, oh, this is trash. It's not meant for you, son. It is a child movie. It's supposed to be ridiculous. It's supposed to be silly. It's supposed to be, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things that come with it. And if you really look at it objectively, the second one is just as it's fine. It's on par with the first one to be in just a cheesy kids movie.
Chad?
Now I've got a question, Shane. I like to stir the pot a little bit every so often, pretty much anytime I open my mouth. But you said, in your opinion, LeBron James is better overall player.
Yes, he is.
Quick snippets. What do you think he does better than Jordan? What do you think Jordan does better than him?
Okay, let's break it down, right?
This LeBron is a wrestling James podcast, by the way.
But I'm a guy that on any interview that I do, we're able to hit all topics, right? So LeBron James, right? Bigger, stronger, faster. Let's just get that right out of the way. Secondly, is a natural passer, has better court vision, passes better, rebounds better, makes his teammates better overall, right? He accentuates role players better than Jordan does. And better rebounder as well, if I didn't say that already, has the ability to guard the point guard to the center, can guard every single position, right?
Touche.
Yep.
With Jordan, right? Everybody simply wants to talk about killer instinct, right? And if we're being honest, LeBron is the better shooter. He is. So that's simply, you can go look up the stats. Better shooter in the regular season, better shooter in the playoffs, better shooter in clutch game-winning moments. So for everybody sitting there, he doesn't have the clutch gene. Wrong. Stop listening to what Skip Bayless says and go look at the stats, right? He has a higher percentage made of game-winning shots, higher than Jordan, higher than Kobe. Let's just be real, right? Now, what people point to when they talk about Jordan is that killer instinct. But what people don't understand is they're simply not the same guy, right? If LeBron didn't want to pass, didn't want to get the rest of his teammates involved, and simply wanted to go like Giannis style and simply drive to the lane every single time and either get a bucket or get fouled, he could do that. He could do that. And he could have been very successful.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
But that's just not his game. And I keep telling people the actual comparison is LeBron and Magic, not LeBron and Jordan. But if we're arguing who's the better overall player, meaning who can give you more aspects of helping your team win, it's LeBron. People simply when they defend Jordan, right, defend the selfishness he had as a player to go, it's going to be on me. I'm going to take the shot because that's how they want to play. They want to be in that spotlight. They want to be the guy, as opposed to looking at who's actually going to help my team win and make the team better.
I agree wholeheartedly. Because we do live in that fantasy world of Michael Jordan when he was 23, being the air quotes first person jumping from the foul line, or all the slam dunk championships and everything. He was I love Michael Jordan, don't get me wrong, but he was glorified.
Right.
In the NBA has changed from Jordan to LeBron 10 times over.
Bro. And if we're really talking about it right too, you could argue, right? You could argue that when Jordan was coming up and all of the stars were in their prime, from Isaiah Thomas to Larry to Magic, they shut him down. It wasn't until they were leaving their prime that he started to ascend. And he dominated the era that they were out of their prime and the next guys up hadn't reached their prime, right? And the teams that he's playing against, this is no disrespect to them, maybe had a star, maybe they didn't, maybe they didn't. In the case of the Jazz, had Stockton and Malone, had two guys. That's not going to beat a whole team. Two guys aren't beating a whole team. Barkley's not beating a whole team. Ewing is not beating a whole team, right? They were the number one seeds going in, and they won. They should have. The years that they would have had comp against the Rockets with Hakeem and Kenny the Jet Smith and all those guys, Jordan didn't play. I don't think he goes I don't think he goes undefeated in the finals if he plays the Rockets. I think they take one of those 2 years. So you can't sit here and say, well, he's got 6 rings. Robert Horry has 7. Bill Russell has 11. Other people have more, right? So you're only arguing the undefeated streak in the finals. And in reality, Jordan never had to play the kind of teams LeBron has had to play. Because LeBron is 4-6, right?
Right.
5 of his losses are to 2 of the greatest teams ever in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
Ever.
Do you think, Shane, with you're saying the quality teams, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, do you think that translates to other sports, and this is where my comparison is. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I hate the Steelers. I hate them with a passion. Oh, wow. Just hate them. Oh, my God. Right. It's like everybody, the Steelers have the most Super Bowls. Well, guess what, bitches? Before they renamed it the Super Bowl, the Packers have the most world championships and Super Bowls combined.
Brother, you are talking to a Cleveland Browns fan. And when the Browns have 10, the Browns have 10 league championships, right? And all the Super Bowl is a league championship. I hate when people want to start and stop history to fit their argument. Nothing pisses me off more because they're trying to direct the conversation into I'm right as opposed to looking at the totality of history, right? So I am right there with you. Plus, if there's any chance that I have being from Cleveland to participate in Pittsburgh slander, I'm here for it.
Oh, I hate them with a passion. I grew up on them. My parents loved them, and that just made it even worse. I'm a diehard Denver fan. I'm a diehard Broncos fan. Loved it when they won their Super Bowls. I know you hate me, and you're probably going to cut this interview off.
I have my problems with the Broncos as well.
So I've always been a diehard Denver fan, and it's like, okay, I hate the Steelers, and I get these people around here. They have the most Super Bowls. Well, NASCAR championship races. They went from the Winston Cup to, whatever Tampon Cup it is this year, whatever the hell their sponsor is. It doesn't change the history. It's the same damn championship.
Absolutely.
But let's wrestling
a little bit.
I love that. I love that he doesn't care.
I told you I was going to stir the pot a little bit, and I didn't think he was going to go off that much on.
But that's good.
Bugs Bunny.
And man, listen, listen. There's so many people, right? Like this is what people do with like history. They'll get an argument, and that'll be something that's said, and they'll just go with it. And it's like, did y'all research? Did y'all look? Did y'all think? Or are you just going by what your parents said, right? Or what you heard?
Yeah, there's no research anymore. It's just whatever. I love that you threw Skip Bayless under the bus because it's exactly right.
He's the worst. He's the absolute worst.
The one thing
if you listen to him, Tim Tebow is the greatest quarterback that's ever lived. And this is no disrespect to Tim. He's a great dude. You know what I'm saying? Hell of an ambassador to whatever he decides to do. Great guy. But he's not. He's simply not. That's just simply the case.
I'm going to say this because I knew the Tim Tebow thing was coming up. If you've never seen it, Shane, go into Google, type in Hitler Tim Tebow.
Where are we going?
No. If you type in Hitler Tim Tebow, it's a thing where people put different occurrences in whatever sports to a piece of a movie that had Hitler in it, and it's funny as hell. You got to go to the Tim Tebow one because he rips on.
I am opinionated as is about a lot of issues. If I type in Hitler, I'm on a watch list tomorrow. If I'm not on it already.
Okay. So we'll get it to you. We'll get it to you one way or another. I agree with Tim Tebow. Skip Bayless. Two things that I like about him is he irritates the shit out of Stephen A. Smith, which I find funny when those two go at it. And Tim Tebow beat the Steelers.
Oh my God.
The number one Steelers offense, 12-4. Denver didn't stand a chance against them. Tebow threw for 316 yards in 3 touchdowns in an 80-yard pass. There will never be a Steeler fan that can live that shit down. When I die, I'm putting it on my gravestone saying...
Listen, real quick, because I know we've been talking about all other sports, but I was dating this chick at that time and actually lived in Pittsburgh. Her family was talking shit all year, right, about the Browns, talking mad shit, and I just had to take it, right, because they were right. They were beating our ass. So I started to cheer for the Broncos because I just wanted them to lose. I was at their house when that happened. And I am the only one in the house laughing, talking mad shit, and everybody was mad at me because I went out and bought a fucking Tebow jersey to wear all around the fucking city. All right? Because, listen, man, I was like, damn, over Troy, too. You sit there, Troy's trying to chase him down. Dude was gone, first pass in OT. Man, nothing better than that moment.
Mark hates us right now, Shane, but I'm just going to throw 10 seconds and then we'll get into wrestling, I promise.
Right.
I was in the military at that time. I served 21 years. At that time, I was in Greenland. Not much, and it's not green. It sucks. Don't ever go there.
Okay.
Cold as hell.
Well, let me go ahead and cross that off.
But
I was just getting ready to...
You're just ready to go there, right?
Don't go there.
Right.
It's not worth it. And unless they pay you like buku bucks to wrestle a polar bear, then that's up to you.
Oh shit, that's wild.
But I was there. I just remember wanting to call my Steelers fans. My dad, God rest his soul, would not answer the phone. My brother-in-law sent a message on, I can't remember what the hell, I think it was Yahoo Messenger at that time, that says, fuck you, I'm not answering the phone. He wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks after that. That was the best time in my life. But we better get to wrestling or Mark's going to fire me.
Speaking of living in the past, you two bandwagon Steeler haters right now.
Oh, no. Don't get it wrong.
I'm kidding.
Don't get it wrong. There ain't no bandwagon Steeler hating here. This is forever on this one right here. I'm not off and on. No, I'm on this one forever.
You both are. This is what I have to deal with every freaking Sunday. I hate him, but I've grown to love him somehow.
Right.
And apparently I hate you too. But no.
That's fine. That's fine. I want all the smoke.
Good. Let's do the rewind as we normally do. That was a hell of an intro for Shane Taylor here on Can Crushers. But let's talk about growing up in Cleveland, because when you grew up in Cleveland, it's rough. It's rough, and you had a hell of a story to get out of Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I tried not to say it like a cliche, but it's. The same story is pretty much the same across the country when you grow up in the inner city, right? Like you have to grow up very fast. It changes your perception about what you feel right and wrong is. You grow up with a very survivalist mentality, a very it's them or me mentality, and a lot of people who don't see those things, don't grow up with those things, haven't been put in those positions, have this morality that, tends to be very Disney, right? They don't really understand what it's like to be in those shoes. For example, we can all sit here and agree that, selling drugs is bad, right? We can all agree to that.
Yeah.
But if you exhausted every other option and I told you, hey, selling these drugs will feed your kids, what are you going to do? Let your kids starve or roll the dice?
I'm rolling
Anybody
the dice.
Here with kids is going to fucking roll the dice absolutely every single time, right? So I understand doing things that you have to do to make sure you and your kids survive. That's where I differ with a lot of people. Now, a lot of people also are conditioned to think that if you do something one way or do something in one area, that makes it worse than something else. Now, we just agreed that selling drugs are bad, right? But alcohol is a drug. How many people drink?
I drink daily.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tylenol is a drug. Advil's a drug. All these other things are drugs, right? So once I start looking at stuff like that and you realize coming from where I come from, there's been more people killed by folks in suits sitting on a board somewhere for big pharma than anybody on the corner has ever killed, ever.
Yeah,
we're talking hundreds of millions of people here, and done simply for profit. whereas other people are selling things to survive, right? So when you really look at it, to me, that's where a lot of things get murky because I see everything for what it is, right? So you're talking to someone who had to grow up seeing a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, a lot of death, a lot of these things that the average person doesn't ever have to worry about or take into consideration. And it does two things. It makes you very much appreciative of the success that you have, but it also lets you know just what is waiting for you on the other side of that. So it pushes you in a different way.
I would think, too, when you're saying it shows you what's possibly on the other side, it kind of keeps you humble.
Yeah.
I personally don't like the word humble. When you look at the definition of it, grounded, I would say, is a better word. But humble, that's always struck a chord with me because a lot of that means you devalue yourself in order to make other people more comfortable, and fuck all that. Like, you need to, the only way, what inspires people, especially folks where I come from, is greatness. They want to see greatness. They want to know what it looks like, the steps you took to get there. So never would I suggest anybody lower themselves or downplay their greatness so other people can feel better, because those aren't the people you're trying to reach anyway. You're trying to reach the people who are looking for that greatness and are looking to see what is possible. Those that are worried about you outshining them, they're simply in the way, right? And I think more people in every aspect of society, whether it be doctors, lawyers, engineers, physicists, whatever it is, I would love to see that held in the same regard as athletes and entertainers, because then you can inspire more people with greatness outside of those two fields. But does it keep you grounded? Absolutely, because you understand the balance that you're dealing with.
I love the way you put that. That made me kind of think about it, and it's like, yeah, it keeps you grounded.
Yeah, more so than I love how you don't like the word humble, because grounded makes more sense. It really does. Right. Thank you, Shane. That actually that hit a chord with me. Thinking, wow, that's Chad. That's us. That's the neighbor. That's that we're trying. Everybody's trying to do the same thing.
Right.
So did boxing? Was that part of you getting out of your realm, or was boxing more of a protection type of thing that you boxed for your 20 years?
Yeah, it's still do. So we're talking. We're going on maybe 29 years now.
Almost 30, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad is all Army. All of my uncles are Golden Gloves. I decided not to compete because then you're held to sort of different standards than the average person, right?
Yep.
As far as what you can do and can't do within the scope of the law. And we got into too many fights to be worried about that. So this was done. I box to protect myself, to protect my family. And for us growing up, I was always one of the bigger kids. So people would try to test me more. Even in today's world, people, try to test me. They drink a bit, or they, are around their friends when I was doing, bouncing and doing security and things like that. And they want to take a shot because you're the big guy,
and they want to be,
and they want to impress their friends or their girl or whoever it is. And that's simply the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up on military bases most of my life too. So from boxing to weapons training to hand-to-hand combat, I have a lot of skills that I really don't talk about because it's nobody's business, right? Like, I'm simply going to wait till you fuck up and then realize, oh, wow, I made a mistake. But by then, it's too late, and you have nobody to blame but yourself.
that makes me think of two things, and bringing in some wrestlers from nowadays. I think of the incident years back with Shawn Michaels and the Marine that he got in a fight with, and he got his ass absolutely whipped up one side, down the other, left and right. And then
to be fair, I think that was more than a one-on-one. I want to say he got jumped by a few of them.
Now, I will say, Davey Boy Smith, who was with him, he just couldn't get his carcass out of the back of the car. Davey Boy Smith did go on record towards the end of his life and say, when asked about it, it was one guy. It was not more than one guy.
9 was brought up.
Hit him.
Yeah,
but it was always reported as more because of Michael's. How can I put this? No, fuck, being nice. Michael's ego.
Listen, I wasn't there, so I don't know. But if it was one guy, I mean, it makes sense. Someone trained more than somebody else has that advantage. But we don't know. You know what I mean? A lot of people were drinking. A lot of things could have happened. You know, he could have only saw one guy hit him, right? That doesn't mean that somebody else didn't. Who knows? A lot of that is, a lot of that, the only people that are really going to know what happened are the people who were right there.
Hearsay. So after you grow up and everything, you attend a local college here in Pennsylvania, Slippery Rock, The Rock, as it is now dubbed, and several great friends go there. And was this a huge change in your life to go and get your business degree? Was it like something to prove to the family, prove to yourself, or like how is it getting out of, and no disrespect, getting out of the slums to Slippery Rock? How does that happen?
It's a culture shock for sure, but I mean, I was blessed enough, again, being a Army brat, to live in a bunch of places. So I'm used to different walks of life and meeting different people and establishing relationships with different people in different areas. No matter where it is I'm at, I can find a lane. So it really wasn't that crazy. The biggest adjustment was me simply just being on my own, right? And then really just not having anybody you really have to answer to. Like, you can really just kind of do what you want within the scope of the law, but there's no, there's no one telling you what to do, right? So in that sense, it was like, oh, all right, now I get to do what the fuck I want to do, right?
Right.
And a lot of that too is friends of mine now who've known me for, close to 20 years now. When we would share stories of childhood, right? Share stories of things that we saw, things that we experienced. My stories were a little different than theirs. And by the time I'm done telling my story, they're all staring at me like I've got 3 heads. And I'm like, y'all didn't see this? They're like, no, motherfucker, no, we didn't. None of that happened. We were watching cartoons. What the fuck happened to you? Holy shit.
Speaking of, I want to say, fuckers, as we want to put nice, how did you meet Justin Plummer?
Now, we love Justin Plummer.
We love him, but, he looks like Tackleberry out of the police academy.
Listen, Justin Plummer is the guy, right? That's my guy from college. We actually belong to the same frat. So he's been my guy for years. But when he was in school, and I'm sure he'll admit this, he was kind of an asshole when he was in.
Oh, he's kind of an asshole now. No,
listen. We learn, we grow. We're both fathers now. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we learn and grow as we get older. But yeah, I saw him get into a few scraps in college. You know what I'm saying? Just being him. And but I'm proud of everything he's done. To be able to sustain a wrestling promotion is not easy. To be able to to go from the talks that we've had about me performing and him being a fan to now the level that I've reached, him being able to run IWC as successfully as he has, it's a credit to the work that he's done, and the talent that he has surrounding him, his support system with his wife and family. So you got to give credit where that's due.
Well, credit where credit's due is Justin is the figurehead, and Jenny runs that company with an iron fist. We always say that week in and week out when we're talking IWC on the show, because Jenny is the boss, and Justin just, I don't want to say looks good because Jenny looks good, but she's just
she'll
there.
whoop him. If you've ever seen her videos she'll whoop him.
Yeah.
I got to bring up something, Shane. You probably won't remember this. You've wrestled thousands and thousands of times. But the first time I ever saw you was at IWC, and it was the match where Justin brought you in against Jack Pollock, and Jack threw you into the ringside barrier. Nothing new. You've been, I'm sure, thrown in and thrown more people into the ringside barrier. But what was memorable about that for me is my 5-year-old son was standing up right by that ringside barrier.
Oh, shit.
And you did absolutely everything when you saw it coming, and you barely hit that barrier, but it looked like you destroyed it. And then you leaned over and asked the little guy, "You okay? You know, everything is..."
Oh, you're bringing down the fourth wall. Stop it. No, I'm kidding.
You know, you okay and everything like that. And, dude, that was my first impression of you. Other than, who the hell's going to piss with this guy?
Right.
And then this happens, and I'm like, okay, this is a really cool dude. This isn't somebody here just to collect a paycheck or anything like that. This is somebody that cares about his performance, cares about how he looks, and what he does. So Shane, go ahead.
Oh, thank you for that. That's just honestly, man, years of it's how I was raised, but years of kind of being forced to be aware of your surroundings in Cleveland, right? So being able to adjust, move, kind of see everything around you at a moment's notice and change direction when you have to. So that's something that everybody should kind of be should really have that skill set, because that's there's lawsuits involved, there's all kind of stuff involved. You have to be able to be aware of all that stuff and change things on a dime. I've been put in spots where, like, I think we're in the UK, and I was defending the TV title against Joe Hendry. I mean, he threw me into one side of the barricade, and someone was in a wheelchair. And as I went there, I saw kind of the same thing. I hit the barricade and tried to turn real quick so I didn't hit the legs of the chair, and was able to miss it. But I was like, all right, well, there's that right there. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, okay, now I know.
And I'll say this about that incident. I think it was a month later, Jack Pollock went against Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy brought Jack out of the ring and was beating his ass, and called my son up, and my son was supposed to chop him.
Oh, no.
And he punched him right in the face.
Oh, shit.
And Tommy Dreamer was like, holy shit. And I'm like thinking, am I going to get in trouble for this? And Jack, I mean, my kid, he's a little guy. He was a little guy at the time. And afterwards, Pollock comes up. He said, thank you. He said, that was funny as hell and helped me. Thank you.
Right.
And I was like, I still don't like you, Jack.
Right.
So Shane, how after college, how does the wrestling career start? How do you hit the road with somebody you love? And if you follow Shane on anything that he's done, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of the social medias, you see that he's got a love a lot of love for Raymond Rowe, or as you might know him in WWE right now, Eric of the Viking Raiders. How does that all come about, that you start wrestling and you find Ray and you just and essentially have a man crush on him because you guys are so tight?
Well, I mean, it's both of us are from the east side of Cleveland, so we've seen the same things, been through the same things. So there's that bond already, right? But then after I left college, I went to some of the IWC shows. That's where I saw Ray Rowe and J-Rock, and talking to them about wanting to do this, was able to meet up with them, learn some stuff from them. They saw that I was very coachable, that I listened, that I, was able to do what they needed me to do when they needed me to do it. And that was all that they needed to know. You know what I mean? So, trained me, let me go on the road with them. And ever since then, it's been just learning as much from them as I can. Ray will still watch matches, give me advice, break things down in a way that that is unique to him. And I appreciate the hell out of him for it. I'm extremely proud of the things that we've both gone through in life, and to be able to be where we're at. You could have bet us any amount of money when we were in our 20s that we wouldn't have seen 30, right?
Wow.
That we wouldn't have lived to have children, to be married, to be here where we're at. You know what I mean? Because stuff like that just doesn't happen where we're from. It's a very rare thing. So for us both to survive that, to move past that, to be as successful as we are, to end cycles, to be able to put our children in better spots, to be able to help elevate our families wherever we can, however we can. There's nothing not to love about that guy. He's one of the most genuine dudes ever. Will give anybody the shirt off of his back. Is fiercely loyal, fiercely defends his family, the things that he believes in, and will always look out for you, no matter what, right? Until you prove to him that he shouldn't, right? But we've had our disagreements through the years. I've been mad at him, he's been mad at me, but that's because we see the greatness in each other and we push each other to reach that, right? And sometimes, and especially for me, right? People know with me, and for whatever reason, I perform best when there's a chip on my shoulder. I perform best when I'm pissed off about something. And so if people see that I'm not going as hard as they think I should, they'll give me that boost and be willing to piss me off because they know that's what's going to move me forward. So, and you need real people around you like that in your corner to be able to do those things, because that's the only way that you're going to be successful in life, is if you have a team of people that aren't just yes men, but are people who really have your best interest at heart.
Outside of him, Shane, I'm gonna take this one away from you. Outside of him, give me your top 3 people that you want to wrestle, or if you've met that goal, or 1 or 2 of them, who are the 3 that you want to have match with?
Okay. We'll do people that I haven't had matches with already. Just to give it all new answers. But I think a one-on-one match with Keith Lee would be dope.
Dope.
A
Tag
one-on-one
team partner
match.
breaking up. Yeah.
No. It's not a breakup. It's simply sometimes there's nothing wrong with 2 people wanting to compete against each other and see who the best is. That's how you push your friends. That's how you see who's going to dig deep, what they need to do, and there's nothing better than seeing that firsthand. So Keith would be one. A one-on-one match with Minoru Suzuki would be another.
Oh my God.
And simply just because, probably a match with Okada.
Chad just faded, by the way.
When you see,
Chad just faded because that's who we thought you were going to say in the first place.
Yeah, when you see somebody that is held in that regard or is called the best, or, you know, you want to test yourself against that competition. You want to really see how you stack up. You want to see what all the hype is about. And and this is no disrespect to anybody, but I was always taught that nobody's reputation means a damn thing until they prove it to you. Right? So I hear all the accolades. I see all the titles. I understand all of that is there. That's fantastic. But in my opinion, just for me, until anybody proves it to me, it's all just talk. So those are three of the things. Those are three matches that I would love to have.
Oh my God, seeing you and Keith Lee, that'd be like two semis.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, oh my, I'd pay to see that.
Well, you have to.
Suzuki, I mean, I'd travel wherever the hell to see that. Suzuki and Okada, wow. I'm a huge fan of New Japan. Mark knows this. New Japan and ROH are my thing. That's who I like.
Mm-hmm.
You and the people that you mentioned are the exact reasons why I like Ring of Honor and New Japan versus certain other ones.
Right.
Wow. Boy, I could see you and Keith Lee. Holy shit.
I'm gonna say this now as we're getting close, and we don't want to keep Shane extremely long. So we have a couple more questions. We'll have to have Shane back on because we're not going to be able to dive into matches and everything, because there's one pressing question that I wrote down, because with you being, and this is good, it's opened, and we want to talk about this. We kind of touched on it off air before we came on.
Right.
But this is one that I always want. I like asking everybody now, and this could go long before we do the random other things. One stigmatism that pro wrestling has, what do you think it is, and how could it be changed? Because this is huge right now, and it's with, and I'm not saying people like Effie saying like, oh, people like, but there's Effie, or there's, you know, transgender. We just talked to Carmen Chaos of Big Time Pro Wrestling. That's a stigmatism, or that you guys are all meatheads, but you have a freaking degree. What is the stigmatism that you'd like to change in pro wrestling, so these mutants out there understand that you're human beings and you're doing the best you can in the world for your family? Because number one for you is family, and that's it.
That's the end of the list. For me, and I can't speak for any other group because I'm not them. I've never been in their shoes, so I don't know what their perspective or their individual experiences have been. But being a black man in this sport, especially here in this country, where and it's starting to change, and I'm glad to see the wheels starting to move. But to impress upon people that black athletes, black wrestlers, can be anything that our white counterparts can be, right? You can have people be the cerebral assassin. You can have them be the hero like John Cena and not be stereotyped into 5 roles, not be the wild African, or not be the angry gangster or the pimp or the thug, or be the, overly smiley, non-threatening, gentle black man that everybody is comfortable with, and be one of the good ones. Like, there's a larger spectrum that is available, and a lot of bringing that out starts with the people at the top, having people in the offices, whether it be marketing or booking or character development, whatever the case, to understand and learn these cultures, or bringing in people of these cultures to help draw out that talent that you have, right? Someone from Houston is not going to give you the same thing as someone from Brooklyn. Just because they're both black doesn't mean that they're both going to give you the same thing, right? Having black people on your roster isn't necessarily representation. Simply just giving people titles, again, isn't necessarily representation. It's learning what your talent can do, who they are, what works for them, what brings that magic out of them, and then giving that to your fan base. And for me, a lot of the history that we've had is simply just being lazy, not wanting to do the work, not willing to take the time to learn these things. And again, with the diversity that we have in wrestling now, we're starting to see a shift there. We're starting to see fans be more vocal about the things that they want, and not just that, but making the choice to actively spend the money where they want to see these changes happen, right? And that's what moves everything. Regardless of if people think that or not, some people are fixated on social media buzz, right?
So much.
Young Bucks.
That doesn't really do shit in the long run, right?
So
you can have 10,000 retweets, but if no one shows the fuck up to the arena, doesn't matter. So it's coming out, it's buying the merch, it's actively putting money towards that person, towards that company that is doing the things that you want to see change, that you want to be a fan of, the things that you like. That's what registers, right? So if an STP shirt goes on sale tomorrow, they have 100 shirts. 100 shirts sell out in a day. The people that look at that stuff have no choice but to look and go, damn, they moved 100 shirts in a day. That is going to tell them far more than, hey, there was 800 tweets on the 800 retweets, right? Like that is a much more tangible thing to see. Or when they announce our matches, if there's a spike in ticket sales because they announced our match, that is going to tell them more than likes on Instagram. That's simply just the case, right? So to me, those are two misconceptions that I want people going forward to be able to understand, whether fans or whether you're on the other side of it. Black wrestlers, black men and women can be more and are more than a lot of the boxes that they put us in. And if your goal is to be able to see these things in wrestling, to have that diversity, to have different people win titles and be on top and all of these things, if that's your goal and that's what you want to see, then you have to support them in a way that is tangible for the people that run these companies to be able to see.
Shane, what you just talking about reminded me of something that I heard about wrestling. Bill Watts in UFC, when Junkyard Dog was with him, Louisiana and everything like that, just the amount of fans that the dog brought in, God rest his soul, I really miss him, actually. The amount of wrestlers that he was able to bring in, but then Vince McMahon signed him away. The dog left, as has been told, without much notice, is a good way to put it. And then Watts had the exact attitude that you are saying is a problem. Okay, I'm going to plug this black man in here. I'm going to try to capture, or I'm going to recapture what the dog had. And he tried, I think 5 different guys, the Snowman, Thunderbolt Patterson, and he couldn't get it. Couldn't get the fans back in, and he couldn't understand that. It wasn't the color of the person. It was, could the fans relate to him? Did the fans relate to him? And the dog was absolutely great down there. He wasn't the joke that he was in WWF later.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the thing, man. Like for STP especially, right? Yes, we are a group of black wrestlers. Yes, we know exactly who we represent and why. I have no qualms about saying that. We tell stories, and me specifically, that is my goal, to be able to represent myself, to be able to represent my community, to be able to represent my people and tell stories that I believe we want to be told, and told the way that we want them to be told, because we've been waiting for it for so long. That is also the case, right? But on top of that, we want to, everybody can relate to being told you're not the guy or you're not the girl. Everybody can relate to being told that, we want someone else here. You're just not what we're looking for. Everybody in STP has been told at some point, yes, you're talented, but we just don't see it in you. Now, when you get everybody that has that mentality and has been told that, has that chip on their shoulder, and now have a team of people around them that they get to go to battle with to prove everybody wrong and to prove that they've had it the whole time, magic happens there, right? When you have a group of individuals all on the same page, all with the same goals, all seeing the same thing, believing the same thing, that's how championship teams are built. And being unapologetically who we are, saying the things that we say, whether it be in wrestling, whether it be about social issues, whether it be about politics, whatever it is, the heart and the ability to say what we say, feel the way we do, stand on that conviction and live or die by it. That is what this is all about. So that's why I will tell people, yes, we're for everybody, right? We want everybody to feel as though they are riding with us, no matter what, race, creed, gender, whoever. You can jump on board and you can rock with us. But we understand at the same time, with that same attitude, we're not going to be for everybody. So there's going to be those people that are going to hate us simply because they don't like who's delivering the message, as opposed to not liking the message itself.
And I'm just going to go like a 15, 20 second rant here. I absolutely 100%. And as a fan, I'm saying this to you. As a man, I'm saying this to you. I absolutely agree with what you're saying, that sometimes a lot of times the people that you are overlooking, the people that you are undervaluing, those are the people that are going to take you in the long run. Those are the people that you build around. And you made the comments about Instagram and stuff like that. Shane, right. I don't know if you're friends with these guys. I apologize in advance if you are. I absolutely detest Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks for the exact reasons that you talked about. The social media and everything like that. I detest them because there seems to be with them more put forth towards that than winning fans over who aren't accustomed to seeing all of them.
But here's the thing about that, right? And this is just my opinion, right? And I respect yours. They are able to do both. They're able to have that social media presence, but when they make shirts, they sell out. Yes. When they go to arenas, they sell out. Them simply wearing a certain type of shoe created how much buzz, right? Generated so much traction, and that's a credit to the things that they've been able to do. Now, is that everybody's taste? No, and that's fine, and they understand that, right? But to those who are, they're fans, and the people that want to see them and go out of their way to do that, they're going to spend the money and they're going to support them in the tangible ways that continue to let them do what they want to do. And so far, they've been able to build an empire doing just that. So it's while some people may not like the way it's been done, it's a proven way of being successful for them. Not everybody is going to be able to do that, right? So what a lot of people have to then look at is, can I do what they did? If you can't do that, you need to find another lane. But you're not going to, you can't pattern a style or utilize a style that isn't meant for you, right? Like, for example, if this was basketball, right? You probably don't want to shoot threes with the Warriors. That's probably not what you want to do, right? In order to be successful, some guys are going to have to play defense and shoot mid-range. That's simply what you're going to have to do. If you try to go out there and get into a shootout, you're going to get smoked.
I love how this all wrapped back around to basketball.
You see how I brought it back?
Yeah, you did.
And I'm just going to throw out there, Shane, it's just like, these guys that are Steelers fans.
I'm not. No, I'm stopping this.
Back to their 4 Super Bowls 50 years ago. They can't let it go.
Well, I have one final question before I disconnect from both of you forever. This came up on Twitter, and I saw that you were around this question as well. And you're 6-man tag team champions in ROH right now. Yeah. We haven't really talked about ROH, and I'm going to reach back out to you to continue this conversation another time because I know it's time to tuck the kids in and this, that, and the other thing. But what is your dream 6-man match? Is it Shane Taylor Promotions against the Russians, the New Day, Dusty and the Road Warriors, something like that? If you could just go back in time and make this 6-man match, who are you taking on?
Whew, that's a good one.
I would hope the Russians, because I could just see another best out of 7 match with Shane Taylor Promotions and the Russians.
Russians would be good. I think right now it would come down to 2 teams. It's either the New Day,
right, or
the Bloodline. So it's either Kofi, Woods, and E, or it's Roman and the Usos. And I say that because of the camaraderie of both teams, the synergy, the chemistry with both teams. You want to be able to go out there with not only the best talent, but the best talent that works well together, right? Because you don't want to go out there as a team against 3 great individuals. I want to be able to go out there and say that we not only were the better group, but we're the better team, right? So you talk about, Roman, one of the greatest of all time on an unprecedented run right now at the top of his game, performing the best he's ever been. The Usos, who are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the chemistry that they had being family, that permeates through the screen. And you talk about the New Day, who were just voted, the greatest tag team of all time, arguably the greatest group ever, right? And to be able to transcend things the way that they have, to not only wrestling, but video games, to comics, to all the things that they've done, all the projects to help the youth. I believe E has a project right now, Our Heroes Rock, talking about prominent Black figures and the effects that they've had on history. And it's animated, and it, is able there to be a learning tool for our kids. That's dope. You see what I'm saying? So to be able to have our names mentioned with theirs and to compete against them, to me, that would be 2 of those dream opponents.
Shane, I just have one quick question here. With what you were talking about, the different charities and everything like that, right, do you feel that when you get to a certain level, like let's say yours, the Usos or the New Day, do you feel that if you don't do that kind of stuff that you're kind of letting people down? Or do you think it's I don't want to say your own choice whether you do or don't do, obviously it is.
Right.
But do you think that you should do stuff like that? Or do you think it's an absolute personal choice?
That's a personal choice for sure. In my opinion, I'm going to be someone that if I can give back, I absolutely will, because I know how hard it is to leave where I'm from, right? And situations like that and places like that don't get any better, because a lot of people, when they leave, they never come back, and and they don't give back, right? So that's the only way that you're going to improve. That you're going to improve situations like that, cities like that, is to be able to come back and use what you've done, use who you've become to be able to change it, right? So it would be great if everybody did. Not everybody has to. A lot of people are just focused on themselves and their families, right? Building that. And that's fine. And that's their choice. But for me and mine, if I have the ability to do that, then I absolutely will. And I think those that have the capability to do that and do so, it's absolutely incredible.
All right, Shane. We'll let you give your social medias, your merch, make some money off of our podcast, sell some of your shirts and stuff like that, and then we'll wrap this up. And I'm begging you on air right now that we can have a part 2 and talk about it, but we can talk about that off air as well. So
absolutely. Of course. Twitter and Instagram at Shane216Taylor. That's Taylor. Head on over to ROHshop.com. That's Ring of Honor's merchandising shop. Go ahead and pick up your Shane Taylor or your Shane Taylor Promotions t-shirts, as well as the link in my bio to my What a Maneuver store. That is in the bio of every social media account that I have. Lots of designs there, lots of things from tank tops to baby onesies to sweats to everything you need is right there. So I want to thank everybody for not only your support of me, but your support of STP, all my guys, Ron Hunt, Khan, Moses, O'Shea, Edwards. It's been an incredible 14-year career so far, and we're still just getting started.
And Shane, I want to say this. I said it off the air, but I wanted to make sure it got on there. My son and I traveled last week before last to Ring of Honor, Best in the World, because it's our favorite. Honestly, it is. And my son was so impressed with you guys, with your team, and how big you guys are, and how athletic you are. Like you said, you're not an attraction, you're more than that. And his words to me were, Dad, I want to go see those guys again. And I was like, buddy, I said, we absolutely will. He said, I don't want them to go against those 3 little guys that they went against, because they just beat them too badly. And I laughed. And now it's like, Dad, can we watch Ring of Honor? Can we do this? And it's like, right. Absolutely, buddy. I said, you want to watch these guys. Shane Taylor, you remember him? It's just the best that there is going today. And I'm not saying that to suck up.
Yes, you are.
Yes, he is. We truly love what you do, and we truly appreciate everything you do for pro wrestling.
And that means the absolute world to all of us. I'm sure I can speak for my guys when I say that. But that's why we do this, man, to create moments, to create memories, and to be able to, be something that families can bond over and talk about, and really immerse themselves in. It's a crazy world out there. So for that 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours that you're watching us, or the 10 to 15 that we're in the ring, if we can help take away the rest of that and give you something to cheer about, boo about, or just simply watch and enjoy, and that's everything to us.
Shane, thanks again one more time for stopping by, and we'll be calling you real soon, brother.
Yes, sir.
Holy cow, Chad. That has been one of my favorite interviews that we've ever had. And I know we say this each and every time. Like, we talked to Ricky Martin. We said, oh, my God, that's an amazing one. John and I talked to Sam Houston, and I said, oh, my God, that's one of my favorite ones.
Nikita Koloff.
And the list can go on of IWC people, OVW people as well. But, Chad, we didn't talk any wrestling with Shane Taylor whatsoever.
We could have sat here
10 hours
and talked and not mentioned. We got our little jabs in about wrestling and other things.
Yeah. I'm glad the first half an hour was shit on Mark and the Steelers and how Mark liked Michael Jordan better than LeBron James. But, again, I wasn't going to say that on air to Shane Taylor, because if we decide to go to Philadelphia and Shane Taylor said, oh, that's Mark, I'm going to get swamp kicked or something real quick.
Are you going to... I just... One thing I couldn't believe, okay, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an athletic big guy.
And we didn't even get the comparison that I would have said, you know, there's Vader, and I'm going to shove that bottle up your ass tonight between tapping on everything. It's like you're nervous Nelly. This was a big interview for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great guy, like I said. He's so athletic in that. And then he talked a little bit about, you know, there's things that he can do and everything, and he's trained in and stuff like that. He doesn't need to talk about. But if somebody fucks with him, they're going to find out about it. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you mess with somebody? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Batista or The Big Show or fucking Haku. Why would you pick a fight with this guy?
Well, I knew about the boxing, you know, but I didn't know, and he still didn't leak at all, that he's trained in so much more. So maybe we send the English professor down to see if he can do his jiu-jitsu against Shane Taylor.
Oh my God. We need to take up a collection for that. That is going out. Y'all will probably see...
GoFundMe started.
Oh, it's going to go out. Okay,
the English professor against Shane
Taylor. That is the best idea ever. But he, you know, all joking aside, a very grounded person.
Good word. You learned that tonight.
Yeah, and I learned a lesson. He taught me something just in conversation tonight. Very grounded person. He knows what's on the other side.
Yeah.
He grew up, in his own words, he didn't expect it to be here by 20 years old.
Yeah.
He said 20 years old. He said, let alone 30. And he's been in pro wrestling for 14 years now. And he said, I'm not stopping anytime soon.
No.
He is just, and I mean this in no disrespect, this is more of a downgrade to society in itself. But he is just now, over the last 2 years, 3 years, getting famous and getting out there.
Yeah. Shame on us.
And yeah, as a wrestling community, and I'm sure, we know about Shane when he broke. You know, that's fine. But I'm talking on a larger level. This man should have been signed by a major organization many years ago.
Yeah.
I am glad he is where he's at, and I am glad he is not in certain other organizations. Oh my God. Just his match, everybody, you listen to this. One of his matches against a certain WWE star. Listen to his podcast. Listen to who he talks about his dream matches on. And then you'll know who I'm talking about right off the bat when he says it. Oh my God. I would travel. I hate California. I would travel to California if that was on a card.
Yeah, I agree.
And plus, if we can get him to beat the shit out of John, I mean, him to educate John on the finer points of joint manipulation.
John would be grounded then, in a different grounded way.
Oh, wow.
Shane Taylor, thank you once again for joining Can Crushers for part one.
For part one, we have discussed.
We have discussed part two. Part two is in the making. We're going to set it up here tonight. Mark will do some due diligent work. Stay up a little bit longer, but that's all right. And one thing, Chad, I didn't get to talk about, Shane. I hinted about it in the question about the stigmatism and everything, about its family and then period. I want that Shane to come on next time too, because he loves his family. We shit on Mark about the Steelers and Michael Jordan. The next time I wanted to bring back, and let's start it off by gloating about our families, because we do love gloating about them, and I want Shane to have his time, because this man does anything and everything. If you dive into social media like I do, this guy does anything and everything for his family, and he'll cut off his hand to give it to a friend if need be.
Ring of Honor, people. I've been crowing, I've been foot stomping since I've been on the podcast. Go to Ring of Honor. $10. They have the video vault. You want to see stuff of his? Ring of Honor. New Japan. You want to see...
You can see a couple matches on the IWC network for only $9.99 a month too. Justin Plummer. That's another 3 or 4 spots this week that you owe me for. And he talks about Justin Plummer.
Yeah.
Plummer was a bad boy.
But yeah. I hear that. And I laughed at that because I just see Jenny just whip Justin.
All right, this outro is going to go as long as the podcast did, so I can't wait to have Shane back on the show again. This was great. We barely touched on wrestling, but that's what this is about. This was so much fun hanging out with Shane Taylor tonight, and
he agreed to, like you said, part 2. I hate to bring... This was Shane Taylor, the person.
Yeah.
Next one will be more wrestling and a little bit of his family and more wrestling.
Yeah.
That shows the complete person. Not just the one that puts ass in the seats or the millionaire. It shows the complete person.
It does. Remember, Chad, just because you're trash
doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.